going to be going now to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 50 through 53. This is another verse concerning the rapture, but this passage actually gives us a wonderful clue as to the timing of the rapture. Okay, take a look. Verse 50 now. It says, "Now I say this, brethren," Paul speaking to the Corinthians here, "that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, nor does the perishable inherit the imperishable." So we cannot go into the kingdom of God, we can't go into heaven in these bodies, these human bodies. These are perishable bodies. We cannot be wearing them as we go into the kingdom. We have to have the imperishable. We have to have resurrection bodies. That's what he's talking about right here in verse 50. 51 now. "Behold, I tell you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed." We're not all going to die, it says. We shall not all die, meaning going to sleep is talking about is dying. But we shall all be changed, or we shall all be transformed. Our bodies are going to be transformed into those resurrection bodies, our forever bodies. Verse 52 now. When's this going to take place? It says, "In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we shall be changed." In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. You know how fast a twinkle is? Well, a twinkle is not a blink. Twinkling is not blinking. Blinking is real fast, isn't it? But twinkling is like a nanosecond, part of a second. And so just before you can even snap your finger, the rapture is going to occur. That means everybody's going to be snatched away. Well, all the believers will be snatched away very quickly. And now, after this, it says, "In the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet." And again, that trumpet, Greek word, the Hebrew equivalent is shofar. The shofar blast. This reminds me of the Feast of Trumpets. It's the 5th feast that the Lord gave to the Jewish people. The Feast of Trumpets, Yom Teruah. Teruah means blast or blowing. It's the shofar blows, blasts. And on this day, Jewish people for thousands of years have been blowing the shofar all day long. Well, the very last blast, which is the longest and loudest blast, is called Tekiah Gedolah. And that's the same word that's being used right here for last. In the Greek, it's eskatos. In the Hebrew, it's gadol. Tekiah, the blast. Gadol, the last blast. So I believe it's talking about the very last blast of the shofar on the Feast of Trumpets. This helps us to see the connection between the rapture and the 5th feast of the year for the Jewish people, the Feast of Trumpets, or Yom Teruah. I believe the rapture is fulfilled in this feast. "For the trumpet will sound," verse 52 continues, "and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we shall be changed." So again, the dead is going to put on resurrection bodies, and we shall be transformed, changed as well. We'll have our resurrection bodies too. Now let's take a look at the chart. You can take a look at that chart. It's the 4th box. The pre-trib rapture chart. On the bottom of that section there, it's got a box that says the body of Messiah ends. So when the rapture occurs, then the body of Messiah, that age will end. And then we see the 2 arrows coming from that box. The first arrow, it represents the dead Messiah rising from the ground. And then the second arrow is we who are alive at the time of the rapture, and we're being raised to the clouds. Yeshua comes from heaven down to the clouds. And then we have our little meeting there, and then we go back up. And he brings us to our dwelling places in heaven. And after the pre-trib rapture, sometime after that, we have question marks on the chart there for days, a matter of days after, is the signing of the 7-year peace treaty. I believe it's between the world and then Israel as well. Now, sometime after the rapture, the world will even be more desirous for this peace treaty with Israel. So while the world has a peace treaty, once we've entered into this peace treaty with Israel, she shall be crying peace and safety. But will there really be peace and safety during this time, during the first half of Jacob's trouble? A lot of believers point to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 1 through 3, to prove it. But just because people are saying peace and safety, which is what those verses are saying, it does not mean that there is actual peace and safety. The truth be told, I do not believe that there is peace and safety in the tribulation period, Jacob's trouble in the first half. Why? Because Revelation chapter 6, verses 1 through 8, they reveal that by the fourth seal that is broken by the Lord, more than 1/4 of the world's population has died. Now, can you imagine that? 1/4 of the world's population? That's almost 2 billion people. They will die in a rather short period of time. We cannot imagine the devastation that's going to occur at this time, folks. So there's no peace in the first half of Jacob's trouble. No, definitely not. There's war, and there's a lot of it.